Hey everyone, it's Dizzy Taro, and today I'm back again in Sword of Convallaria to talk about a very strong unit that you should be considering when doing things like fighting the Weapon Trial Boss 2. Now this guy is the Papal God. He's a very strong free-to-play unit. As you can see here, he's a rare character and it's very easy to get him. I've already got him at 3 stars and it won't be long before I max him out. Starting with his trait, his Blessed Shield gains him block. This is a 50% chance to face the enemy if you're taking physical damage, then decreasing that by 20%. And then if he ever has 3 or more buffs, physical damage is further decreased by 9% and his block chance is increased to 80. So I won't be going through every single one of his skills, but I will show you which ones are the best to take against the Weapon Trial 2 boss. That is the place where he shines the most. Papal God, kind of like Suppression, is a tank that focuses entirely on doing one thing right. The Papal God is the best at defending against physical damage, while Suppression is the best at dealing against magical damage. Now I've already covered Suppression in 2 videos in the past and will link them below in the description. I'll show you there how he does really well against the Weapon Trial Boss 1 and 3. Starting with his reaction skill, the best one to take against the Weapon Trial Boss 2 is this defense ranged attack. This reduces it by 25% and it's the best thing to take because that boss will only be doing long range attacks against your tank if you run it in a specific way that I will eventually cover. His second skill is Defense Stance. This gives him a physical shield equaling to 25% of his HP and a buff called Block Enhancement, which lets him trigger block with a 100% chance and then decreasing damage by 10%. Now Defense Stance is a very nice skill. First thing to note is that all shields are stackable, and so being able to stack a 25% HP shield multiple times just makes it really hard for your tank to die. And as you guys will see later on in the fight, he's able to pretty much survive without taking a single hit and not requiring any kind of healing. And that is all thanks to this plus another skill that I will shortly go through. This is instant as well, which means that as long as he has enough energy to use within that turn, he can cast this shield multiple times. Then we have Heavy Armor. This skill is not an insane skill by any means, but it's a nice thing to have. It's a passive that triggers at the beginning of the battle, just straight up giving him a physical shield equal to 25% of his HP that cannot be dispelled. It's kind of different to his regular shield. This sounds like it can be dispelled, but this one it just doesn't get dispelled. His fourth skill is none other than Flagellant. Now I've covered this before and Flagellant is an insane skill. It's god tier skill that honestly, in my opinion, every character that has the potential to unlock Flagellant should really prioritize getting this. And that is because Flagellant will give you a stack of a Penance buff. Now this is really nice. It will straight up just give you a decreased damage of 8% that can stack up to 3 times. It only occurs when you take damage, but the nicest thing about it is the second part here. Besides not being dispellable, it additionally recovers 1 energy so long as you have at least 1 stack at the end of your turn. This is crazy. This really enables every single one of the characters that has this skill to basically use their skills every single turn. As you guys can see here, my defense stance only costs 2 energy. And he already recovers 1 every single turn. So by having this Flagellant skill, he basically always has enough energy to trigger this skill every single turn. It's absolutely crazy how strong this is. It's so crazy that I even went ahead on my Angel. Now, when I first started and played this game, I didn't really know what I was doing. I only had 1 healer, and so I was only making sure that I picked up any skill that made sure I did as much healing as possible. That's why at rank 3 I initially picked up Regenerate, which is quite nice, additionally healing lowest HP percentage within 3 tiles by 20% of her magic attack, but I spent a Castalia on this epic tier unit just to make sure I have Flagellant, and that made her so much consistent. Before taking Flagellant, whenever I fought the Weapon Trial boss 2, I had to pair up Angel with another healer who could also dispel, which in this case was my Butterfly, and that made it so difficult for me to get a consistent run. So now that I'm no longer using Butterfly and just having Angel with a Flagellant skill, I can get such consistent healing every single turn that I can bring an extra DPS and clear stage 8. So that's it for the 2 supports that I'm bringing into the fight. Again, Papal God, insane tank. The gear that I have on him is pretty much just trying to reduce as much damage as possible, which I honestly don't think he needs, because as you'll see later on in the fight, he survives with extra shield and he just does not need any other support or healing or whatsoever. So now we're in that fight. I'm doing stage 8, and as you can see, I'm only running Papal God and my Angel as a support, and I've got these 3 DPSs. You really can run any DPS whatsoever as long as they do melee damage. Now I've got Mytha here just because I was a little bit afraid that my other 2 DPS units could not tank the damage of the boss's AoE, but as you guys can see, they're doing perfectly fine, and in fact I probably should have changed it for someone else who did a bit more damage, because I only just made it at round 15, and that's the last round where you can potentially get 3 stars, otherwise you don't. So just to briefly recap on the boss's skills, now if you're already familiar with how the boss mechanics works, just go ahead and skip over to the next part. First of all, looking at his reaction and trait skills, you want to make sure you avoid bringing any ranged damage dealers. They will do less damage, and then it will also give him a stackable buff called Wrath of Thunder that will increase his attack by 20%. You want to make sure you avoid doing that. Then we've got 2 single target hits that will do range damage to your furthest unit. In this case, it will be our tank, which we'll place around this area here, and it just does a lot of physical damage and heal block. And the reason why you want to place that in this area is just so that he's as far away as possible to reduce the damage of this skill, which is reduced by 10% per tile distance between them. And lastly, we've got 2 skills that do AoE damage, and these are mostly going to target your DPSs that will be up and close on the boss's face doing damage. And these skills are not too much to worry about. They don't do that much damage, and as long as your support is constantly healing them every turn, they should be good. There's only one little thing to watch out for, and that is this Voltage Shock debuff. Now I'm just going to go through the description because it's a bit hard to explain, but it deals piercing damage to the target, and then any ally that is within a cross-shaped area of 8 tiles from where that Voltage Shock debuff was placed, and your units will basically carry that with them. So you want to make sure there's no one else in a cross-shaped area from those units. It will do 60% damage of the target's HP. So if they're right next to each other, they will definitely get knocked out. So as long as you avoid that, you're good to go. So let's go ahead and show the fight. Now, it's really important to note how Papal God and the Angel support do their turns, because that will really get them set up to do their skill every single turn. So here, Papal God comes in, straight away uses his defense stance and gives him a shield of, as you guys can see, 50%. I don't know why this is only showing 25, but because he started with 25 from this passive, and after using his defense stance, he's now up to 50%, and he's only got 2 energy left. I will use the rest of my DPSs to clear out some of these rocks on the way. Speed this up a little bit. Here comes lightning doing the same thing. And now, before I show you what happens next, I could have used urgent order to move my angel further up ahead so that my Papal God will take the first long range single target hit, and I actually forgot to do that. But as you'll see, I did not backtrack and change that. I let that happen because it turned out for the better. And that is because of her Flagellant skill. I had completely forgotten about it, but by letting her take this first initial hit, which is quite a lot, it enables her to take that one Penance buff, allowing her to start regenerating 2 energy every turn. So as you guys can see here, she takes that damage and now she moves forward. We'll do a quick heal and cleanse the heal block that she originally had, but that is fine. The boss will no longer ever attack her. And then I continue to move the rest of my DPS and start doing some damage. I bring out the Sword of Convallaria, which is actually a very nice what's it called, talent that you get at level 40, and it really boosts your team's damage and defense. Here comes lightning, does some extra damage, and then there we go. The second single target that the boss is doing hit my Papal God and did pretty much like 100% of my Papal's health, because he already was sitting on 50%. So you can see how much he managed to mitigate just by being able to stack that additional shield. And then I bring in my angel, I do that heal, and it starts to heal her back again because she removed that heal block, and she's now cleansing it from my Papal God. Now as you can see, she's already at a spot where she can reliably start healing every single turn without any worries of ever running out of energy. Then round 3. Now we start getting the AoE hits towards our DPSs, and you'll see how I deal with it. Then my Papal God moves forward, adds another shield, and as you can see here, he's now on 25 shield. So now you guys will see how I deal with the boss's voltage something debuff. I need to make sure they're not standing right next to each other or in the same line as each other, because then when the boss uses his massive damage, they'll be able to survive and not kill each other. There you go. See that massive damage? It does AoE in a line, so if they were next to each other, they both would have lost too much health and died. At this point, this is probably going to be the last time my angel cares about healing my Papal God, but as you'll see, he has 25 HP now, and then he'll just continuously give himself more and more HP shields and basically be able to survive the entire boss fight without any more heals. There we go, he gives himself another shield, so he's now at 50%. And then we just keep on doing some more extra damage. AoE, boom, they're still alive. And then Angel heals the entire team. And we'll just continue doing this. So now again, let's check how much shields my Papal God has. He's currently on 75. That's really nice. Now, the reason why he can stack so much is because the boss will not always attack the Papal God every single turn. So that gives him a few turns to basically stack his shield and have a massive chunk that won't let the boss penetrate through that. Then we'll keep going. Here we go. So I think I spent a bit too many turns healing with my Mytha, and it might not be necessary. There you go. See, he took a massive single target and has not lost a single HP. His shield took the brunt of that, and I think it might have left him with a few extra shield left. So yeah, he's still sitting on maybe about 10% shield left, and it's just amazing. So you'll see throughout the rest of the fight, it pretty much just goes the same way. I keep on being able to stack that shield multiple times before he takes a single target, and my angel will spend the rest of the turn just making sure the rest of the team is healed up. Now the only way I would probably change this team a little bit is to make sure I add a little bit more extra DPS. That will ensure I get to kill the boss a little bit earlier, and I think that's pretty much it. By doing that, that might allow me to beat stage 9 earlier, and yeah, so thanks for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below if you're also using this team setup, or if you have a better team that you're using. And for now, I'll let the rest of the game play out. Also, I stream regularly on Twitch, so drop by and say hello. Bye now.
次は私の番。感謝します。